log off?
Yeah, you gotta log off. Otherwise I'll get an echo, I think.
Okay, I log off and you still have access?
I think so. Hey, good morning, everybody. We had a little technical challenge to get started, but we're all good now. So last week, we went over Facebook ads. And today we're going to finish up last week's class by actually creating an ad right together. So you can see you guys all see my Facebook page? Just give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. So here's a current ad I'm running right now. Basically, I'm trying to grab listings by offering a CMA, right? So I'm going to show you guys how you can build one on your own. So this is my main, personal Facebook page, but on my left hand side, I've got my links to my business page. So I'm just going to click on it and bring me over to my business page. Wow, this is so slow. There we go. Okay, so now my business page is starting to load. Okay, so now that it's loaded, what I'm going to do is on the left-hand side, I'm going to go over to my ad center. And are you guys following along? You're going to build this together, right? Okay. So what happens when you click on Ad Center, it basically brings up your dashboard of, any active or past campaigns you've had. So you can see in the middle of the screen, it's basically just a summary of the last 2 months, right? So I've spent $90 on the last 60 days. I've gotten 2,500 views, 57 clicks, and it looks like 15 leads out of that, right? So that's basically just a summary of that. If you want to change the criteria, 7 days, 30 days, you could do that right here. So if you want to create an ad from scratch, basically you come over to this big blue button right here. Is everybody with me so far? Everyone's caught up to speed? Okay. So now I'm going to hit create ad. And this is going to open up the ad editor. So first of all, it's going to ask you what type of ad are you running and what's your goal. So again, I typically run either a get more leads if that's what I'm trying to do, or if I'm trying to do some branding only, I'll do promote your business locally or promote your page. So it depends on what you're trying to achieve for an outcome for marketing. So for today, we'll do get more leads. And then on this page, typically I'm going to create a new form. We did this last week. So I'm going to click create new form. Now this form is what the user is going to see on Facebook, okay? So what I'm going to do is name this form to match my campaign. So I'm going to say listing Main Street. Right, so if I have a listing on Main Street somewhere, I'm going to create my form to match whatever that listing address is, okay? Just so I can keep track of what leads come in for that ad. Does that make sense? And then when you build the ad itself, the form itself, so on the right, it's starting to build the form for me, okay? So what info do you want on this form? So right now, all I'm asking for is their first and last name and their email address. I also want their phone number, right? So I'm going to select phone number right here. And you can see on the right, it's going to change that form for me. Right, so now I've got 3 questions: full name, email, and phone number. Now, typically with Facebook, these will be auto-filled because when you register for Facebook or set up your account, typically you need to give them your name and email address at a minimum. I think phone number may be optional. So chances are all three of these fields are going to come across once you capture a lead. They won't have to type anything in. Okay. If you wanted to add additional information, you can hit the see all, and then these are the other things that you can add to that form. So if you wanted to know their address, their date of birth, any of that stuff, you can do that right there. But I recommend keeping it simple because you want them to fill the form out. All right. So if you're good with your form, you can add a question too if you wanted to at the bottom. But again, I would just keep it very simple. So let's hit next. Got it. Here we go. At the bottom of the screen. Next. Okay. So now we've got a form, right? Now we have to actually create the ad itself. So this is similar to the last screen where you're editing things on the left over here. And as you're building your ad, it's going to show on the right as a preview, right? So here are the things you can do. You can change the description. So you can see on the right, it's got the same text as it does on the left. So if I wanted to change this completely, so you get the idea is whenever you change something on the left, it's going to update the preview on the right. You guys are probably going much quicker than me. Right? So you can see what I wrote on the left shows up on the right. If you want to change the photo, same idea. You just hit edit options right here. And then you choose your image, right? You can do an image or a video depending on what you are trying to put out there. From my experience, still images seem to work better than videos. So if there's an image that you've used before in Facebook, it'll show up here. There are some stock images, or you can go to your local computer and upload one. So I'm going to do that. So if I wanted to add a new video, new image, I would just select one from my library. Let me go to pictures. So let's say I wanted to put a picture of this multi up there. I would select that multi. Right, so now it's just added this new image for me. I'm going to select it, hit select. And now that image that I took off of my laptop is now going to show up in my ad. Everybody with me? Okay, cool. All right, so now you can see I've added this new image of a multi, and now it shows up in my ad itself, okay? So now you've got your text, now you've got your image. The last thing you can do is you can change what this button label says. So right now it says sign up. If you want to change that to something different, you can do that right here. So maybe I want to say learn more instead of sign up. So I'll click learn more. And now it's going to change that button on the ad preview. Are you guys building one? Or just following on? Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, so now you can see the ad, right? So when this ad gets published, this is what the end user is going to see, right? This is exactly what they're going to see when it shows up on their feed, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. And then when they click on this learn more button, that form we created earlier, that's what's going to pop up for them. Okay. So now you've got your ad, content, picture, call to action, the button there. There's a couple more steps, right? So I think, well, I know we talked about this last week. I don't know if you remember, but because we're realtors, our ads fall into the special ad category under housing. So we have to turn this on. And we also have to select housing as the category. If you don't do this, your ad will get rejected. So make sure you do this every single time. Come down and select housing, and you're good to go. Okay. So now that you've done that, the last thing you need to do is select how long you want this ad to run for and how much you want to spend. So I typically run ads that are listing related, whether it's an open house or a new listing or a buyer attracting ad. I usually run it for 3 to 4 days. So I'm going to change this to 4 days. And I'm just going to adjust 35 to 30. 25. So I'm going to spend $25 over 4 days, right? And it's telling me, based on what I've entered, I'm going to reach between 450 to 1.3K, 1,300 people, right? So over those 4 days, that's approximately how many people are going to see this ad, okay? If I were to change this to, I'll go back to 35. It changed this slightly. So now I could reach between 576 to 1,700 people. So it all depends on what you're trying to do and how much you want to spend. And then where do you want this to show up? So by default, it's going to go to Facebook, usually goes to Instagram, and it goes to Messenger as well. If you don't want it to go to Messenger, you can unselect it. Depends on what you want to do. I just leave it by default to go where it needs to go. And then if you don't have a credit card on file, it's going to ask you to put one on file, right? So if I wanted to publish this, which I'm not going to, basically I would say I'm done, promote now, down at the bottom here. And what happens then is it goes out to Facebook compliance. So they're going to check it to make sure that it follows the housing rules. And if everything's good, then it'll get published. And oh, wait a minute, did I skip a step? I think I did. Hold on. I did. I'm sorry. Let me back up. Audience details, right? So the only thing you can change, because again, this is a housing category, is the location where this ad gets placed, right? So you cannot adjust the age at all because we're in a special category. You can change the location. So depending on where you want this ad to run. So by default, it just picked Providence and 15 miles around it. If you're not happy with that, you can change it. So let's just say I wanted to run this in, pick it down, Cranston. So I'm gonna pick Cranston, Rhode Island. And it's gonna give me a 15-mile radius.
Can you have more than one?
You can have more than one. So if you wanted to run this in multiple areas and overlap, you could do that as well. So if I wanted to add another one, let's just say Warwick. It's probably much quicker on your end. So I'm going to run this in Cranston and Warwick. So I'm going to overlap a little bit, but that's fine. And if you wanted to make it even larger, just slide this button down here. So instead of 15, I'm going to go out to 18 miles. So I'm pretty much covering most of the state that way. So now it's telling me at the bottom here, I'm going to reach about 900,000 people. Okay. So I'm going to save that. Okay. So now it's changed my audience size just a little bit. Now I'm up to 600, between 600 people and 1,700 people. So if you're happy with all of this, your ad, your audience, and how much you're going to spend, you just hit promote now. And then again, it'll go back to Facebook for compliance. And if everything's good, it takes a couple of hours to half a day. If everything's good, it'll start running. So your ad is going to end up showing up in that radius that you chose. So anybody who's on Facebook between the ages of 18 and 65, whether a male or female, has the opportunity to see your ad in front of them. Does that make sense?
So it doesn't just go to your Facebook for people?
It does not go to your Facebook people. So the question is, does it go to your Facebook friends? Possibly, but it's not going to go on your Facebook feed. You may or may not see it ever. I happen to see the one I ran earlier. I don't know why. Maybe because I ran it in my area and it showed up on my feed. But typically, you don't know where it's going to show up. And then when someone clicks on it, that form that we created with their full name, email, and phone number, that's what's going to pop up. And then once they hit learn more, a lead will be generated and it's going to show up on Facebook for you. So let's just go take a look at that. Well, before I do that, any questions on how to edit or create an ad? I'm not monitoring the chat box. Are there any questions in there? Doesn't look like it. Hey, Jess, have you run any ads?
Yeah, I have.
How were your results?
I only have 3 leads so far. I think the ad actually ended today. So
Okay.
not super great.
Not super great. And I
had about 12.
12. Ellen had 12.
The first person I called, she says, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be bothered anymore. Bye. And I'm like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's a mixed bag. I mean, it's just like a Zillow lead. I mean, you don't know who's going to be on the other end of the phone. But,
I just want to know what to do with them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Ellen's asking what to do with the leads once you get them. So let's talk about that in a minute. All right. So if you guys are good with how to create an ad and how to get it running, that's like the majority of the battle right there. Okay. So let's just assume we've published this and it's out there and people start to click and you capture them. They will show up in Facebook for you. What's wrong? Oh, okay. So back to my dashboard, right? So back on my business page under the ad center, there's why does this thing keep disappearing on me? Jess, you still have the leads thing, right?
Yes.
Okay. There should be a leads button over here somewhere. I don't know why it's not here anymore for me. Maybe I don't have any active ads, that's why. Or new leads. If you don't see them there, you're going to see them on your primary dashboard and anyway under summary. So if I go over here and click on my Facebook leads, you guys see this? I've got 15 of them. If I go and click on this, it's going to pull it up for me. Why is this doing this? I'm just going to follow the link. So there's a couple things you can do too. If you don't want your leads to sit in Facebook, there's a way to set them up so you can get sucked into your CRM. And that way you can deal with them that way. That's another class.
How do you get is there any way to get the leads? Like get a ding on your phone that the lead came in? Because I mean, nobody's in Facebook 24/7.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, you know? And sometimes like the next day I'll see that I got a couple leads from the day before.
Yeah.
It's busy.
So the question is there a way to get alerts once you receive a lead within Facebook without being on Facebook 24/7? I don't think Facebook has a way to notify you that you've received a lead, but you can set up, it's called Zapier or Zapier, where between Facebook and your CRM. So as a lead comes in, it'll automatically get redirected to your CRM.
I suggest everybody do this now because we have something that might be launching that you're gonna need it for anyway. So I would just get on it now.
So I'm gonna take a look at Zapier or Zapier. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Z.
Z, and figure that out for you guys. So that way I can tell you this is the way you should, set it up. So I had another CRM called LionDesk where there was an interface directly between LionDesk and Facebook. So as soon as the lead came in, it went right to the CRM. And same thing with at Keller Williams, we had command. Same thing, lead would come directly into your CRM. So you would get an alert on your phone saying you got a new lead. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you know, show us how to link the two.
Not today. Not today. All right. So let's just pretend that we have leads in here. How you follow up with them is going to depend on what you choose to do or how you design your follow-up plan. So I can tell you what I do, and then you guys can figure out what works for you. So typically, I have a drip campaign already set up in my CRM. So the way it works is I get a lead, it comes into my CRM, I get an alert. My first step is to pick up the phone and try and call them. If I get a hold of them, great. If I don't, that's fine too. My next step is to send them a text. So I'll send them a text, and all of this is pre-formatted. So my text will say something like, "Oh, thank you for checking out my Facebook ad for such and such a property. Let me know if you need any help finding a home," something like that, something really basic. And I give them a link to that particular listing. And then I follow up with an email that basically says the same thing. So phone call, text, email, all happens right at the same time. Then I'll wait a day and kind of the same series. I'll try and call them again. And then I'll send them a text saying, "Hey, sorry, I missed you yesterday. Maybe that wasn't the house for you. So let me show you other houses or other properties in that neighborhood." And I'll send them a link to, let's say they're looking in Cranston. I'll send them a link to homes that are on the market in Cranston, kind of around that price range. Again, this is all automated. So I've already created these links. I just paste them into my plan. I send them an email with the same information. Then I wait another day, same steps, but I widen the search this time. I'll say, here are some homes in Cranston, Warwick, blah, 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 in that same price point. Wait another day. And then the last thing I do is send them, hey, I know you're a savvy shopper or home buyer. Here's a list of homes their prices have been reduced in the past 2 weeks, whatever it is. So that way, maybe this is a bargain for you. If I still haven't got them 4 or 5 days later, I just flip them over to a long-term plan where I send them an email every month. That's all until I reach them. So that's what I typically do. So the whole plan is like 12 to 15 steps over 4 or 5 days. Okay. Anybody do anything different? crickets.
I called them the first day, and the wrong number. And, some just, said taking off this,
Yeah.
taking off.
So I don't know about you guys, but I get a mixed result too. Some people don't want to talk to me. Some people are confused why I'm calling them. It all depends on, who's on the other end of it. Okay. Who's got questions? What, everyone's written? All right, you guys back? Sorry about that. Who's got questions? Surely somebody has a question out there. All right. What else would you guys like to cover today? I know that was quick, but it was follow up to last week. Are you comfortable creating an ad yourself?
Yeah, when would you help with the transfer of leads into the, create all the
I'll do that. I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. The question is, when can we, figure out how to get the leads from Facebook into?
CRM or?
Yeah, I'm going to do that over the next couple of days. Or we'll figure that out. So I'll have an answer for you by Friday on the best way to do that. Yep. Is anyone actively running ads?
Mine just finished up.
No? Okay. I mean, ads are only one tool, right? That's just one way to do it. We talked about the other ways to do lead generation too. So this is just to supplement the other ways you're doing lead generation, right? So your immediate sphere is probably your best source of business, right? People you know, versus trying to get people you don't know. So I would always concentrate on your sphere first, and then when you run out of people to talk to, then you would have your ads running, right? Okay. I like it much better when you guys are in the room. All right. Any questions? Comments? Sarcastic or otherwise?
Well, why don't you ask them, like, what do they feel like they need? Like, is there anything that they want to cover different? Do they know that we changed the calendar?
All right, Melissa's got questions. You want here? Come over here and ask. Yeah, you can ask.
What do you want me to say?
What you just said?
Put on the spot.
But I'm asking you the questions. Tell them.
So, what else they need?
Oh, so what else do you guys feel like you need? That anything that we haven't covered or anything that you've wished that we would cover?
Scripts.
Scripts.
I noticed that, somewhere there's gonna
I
be-
can't hear anybody if anybody's trying to talk.
I would be getting them into the CRM scripts on how to,
For different
reach out
things.
and-
Okay.
Yeah. So Ellen's saying she wanted some scripts for how to talk to clients about different situations that were to come up when she gets a lead. So we will have scripts on next Monday when we do the calling at the office here. So you guys will just need to bring your laptops, your database or a list with you.
And the
It's like
other
catching
thing
up
would
when
be-
I'm talking. I can see my mouth still moving.
The other thing would be, the drip campaign. How to set
Drip
that up.
campaigns, yeah, we're gonna be going over that also at some point too. Is that gonna be probably within the next week also?
Mhm.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, we did update the calendar on Zone with the classes. We decided that there were classes that were needed before the ones that were on there. So if you had signed up already, then just double check those to make sure you're coming in for what the calendar now reflects. And then also, if you guys need to make a one-on-one, also don't hesitate to do that too, because I know there's a lot of things that are going to be changing coming up. So if you need to catch up or anything, we're available for you for that.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Cool.
One thing that I don't know if we can go over another class, but
Hold on one
when-
second. Hold on, Jess.
I knew you
Sorry.
were coming in today, so I specifically didn't use the pen. Yeah.
Okay, ask again.
okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So one topic that I have some questions about would be OpCity. Kind of like I know this will probably fall into scripts and stuff like that, but like, they get referral bonuses and things like that. And, how much are you getting charged for the lead? So like, those are things that I just kind of want a little bit more clarification on. And if there's anything that we need to do, maybe to kind of nudge them over to our side, like if you're getting a referral bonus, you're getting X amount of dollars if you purchase, $500,000 home or whatever. So like, those are just some questions that I kind of have about the OpCity leads that we get and how,
Okay.
like best practices. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm just gonna jot that down. That's probably a Rebecca question. I don't know much about OpCity myself. But yeah, we can get that for you, Jess.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah, so like Melissa was saying, we changed the topics for February based on what we went over in January and where we think you guys need to like have more education around. That's more appropriate to where we are in the business, right? So yeah, the technology stuff is great, but having leads is even better. So we wanted to concentrate on really lead gen and follow-up plans for February and the different ways, right? So whether you're talking to a FSBO or an expired or a cold lead or someone that responded to your Facebook ad, just different ways to have that dialogue along with objection handlers and all that kind of stuff. So that's really what February is going to be about. So we can have more conversations with more people to generate more business. So because we're getting into like the early spring market, we're hoping that, spring will be popping like last year, March, April, May. So now is really the time to get those conversations going with people that have the potential to list or buy. Make sense? Awesome. Okay. All right. If you guys are good, then we can end the call, and we'll look forward to doing this again next Tuesday. And again, like Melissa said, one-on-ones. If you need something, just reach out to us. All right. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you.